Hey, fellow heroes, welcome to the channel. I'm here with Greg and Kyle from Heroes Beacon, and we're going to talk about Tarkir Dragonstorm, which comes out on April 4th. So this is the first time we're heading back to Tarkir since 2015. So what's been happening on Tarkir since we were last there with the cons block?
Following Sarkon and what he's been up to and how he's sort of returning to form, how the clans are starting to rebuild themselves, regain their footing, and become the sort of the showcase where before the dragons had sort of taken hold again. So it's yeah, just kind of following up on where we left the plane. Kyle, do you know anything more about it?
Well, so I think this is we're there after the Phyrexian invasion is also part of this, right? That's where all of this is kind of like that. The last time we were in Tarkir, it was all, it was all kind of fixed up by Sarkon going back in time, and then he fate reforged it all back together. And he changed the way that the plane was designed, right? But then I imagine now we're seeing it after the Phyrexian invasion, or is that not happening in this? I think that's
Don't think it.
what we're
I don't think
seeing.
it's the biggest focus. I think this is more, like I said, sort of the clans rebuilding themselves. Like, Durgo, who last was Durgo Bellstriker, uh, you know,
Mhm.
taking back his I guess predestined role.
His
So it's
mantle.
yeah. So it's a lot of that. I haven't unfortunately followed the story as closely on this one, but I am quite happy to revisit a lot of these characters.
I was just gonna say, so we've got that rebuilding, so we're getting three color clans back, which is exciting.
Yeah, which is sort of a big focus of the original set was the three colored clans. So speaking of the clans, we've got a bunch of new or returning mechanics. And it seems like each clan maybe has one focused on them. What do we know about the mechanics and kind of which clan are they designed for?
Well, I mean, we're on, so all of them, all the clans are kind of signatures for the different the different mechanics that the very I'm excited. So so Jeskai is the one I'm excited for. So when I think about Jeskai, I think about spell slinging. And when I think about spell slinging, I think about casting my second spell in a turn. And so Flurry is Jeskai's new big mechanic this time around. So this is a new one. So each Flurry ability is going to have a different effect. So they're all, so if we remember kind of what what was his name? Shu Yun was all carried about second spell on the turn. And so this kind of like a harkening back to all of those monks with prowess. And so we're going to be casting a bunch of spells, and hopefully we're going to be impulse drawing cards and getting double strike effects and all sorts of looting. And I'm super excited about that one. So really, really pumped to see Jeskai casting a bunch of spells this time around in a flurry of spells. How about you, Greg? Which one are you excited about most?
I'm big on Mardu, um, and their mobilize mechanics. So it rewards aggressive strategies. So whenever you attack with something with mobilize, they'll make red warrior creature tokens. So if you have mobilize 2, they'll make 2 creature tokens. Those come in attacking and get sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. So it's a way to just go even wider if you're playing those really aggressive go wide strategies. And there's a lot of cards that play to benefit that. Zurgo, there was a Zurgo in this set that I'm quite excited about who bypasses that sacrifice. You get to keep your warriors. But that's the Mardu mechanic. The other one I'm interested in is Harmonize, which is the Temur mechanic. So that's the blue, green, and red. I shouldn't assume people know these clans. Um, and it allows you to cast spells from your graveyard sort of like a flashback ability, but you can tap your creatures to pay for some of the costs to recast a spell. So a spell might cost 3 when you cast it. In the graveyard, it now costs 6. But you can use your creatures to pay to cast that spell.
Yeah, I've seen some really exciting
Yeah,
card
and
examples that people are talking about.
yeah, and it's off of the power of the creature, so it rewards the big stompy things that Temur likes to cast. Like Temur is really all about going tall and not wide. So you're not casting 5/1/1s, you're casting a 5/5. Did you want to talk about the other two, Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sultai is one of my favorites because it's just always a big value pile. So Renew's what they've got coming in. So Renew's going to be a keyword ability that activates, looks like it's going to be mostly from the graveyard, because it's all about exiling something from your graveyard to get value from that, putting counters on stuff or getting other additional effects. So we're going to be milling and turning over our graveyard over and over again with Renew. So that's exciting. And then Endure is the Abzan mechanic. Well, according to some, it's Abzan. Not sure how in the English language that works. But Endure is a new one as well. So that one, either you get a big choice, and I like this one because you get counters on your creatures, or you're getting additional blockers and chumps, little tokens. So you're getting 1/1 spirit tokens. They don't fly, but they're I mean, it's just extra value stapled onto your cards, which is always extra nice. So excited to see all those mechanics coming in.
Endure.
Go ahead.
It's so if you had like Endure 2, you get a 2 tail spirit or 2+1/+1 counter. So so it's not just dual 1/1s,
yeah,
you get,
okay.
so if it's Endure 3, you get a 3/3 spirit and or 3/1/1 counters. So that flexibility
Good
is
call. I missed that. Thanks, Greg.
anything where you have that kind of flexibility is useful.
So we've got a couple of non-clan specific mechanics as well. Do you want to kind of give us the lowdown on Omens and Behold?
When I saw Omens, I'll start with that one because I initially hated it. Because I saw it as this is potentially a worse adventure, and it works a lot like adventure, where you'll have a card that has your main spell, and in the corner, the bottom left hand corner, is the Omen. So the dragons have these, or there's a series of dragons that have these. So you can cast a spell for its Omen cost. So it's sort of like a premonition that the dragon is coming, and the Omen spell resolves. If it resolves, you shuffle that card back into your library. Now, it's a little different for adventure because adventure, your spell went on an adventure and you just set it aside and then you could cast it again. Whereas the Omens get shoveled into your library, and this is where it's like, well, that's kind of crummy. But there are a lot of spells that you want to draw it again. You want to be able to cast that, that direct damage spell over and over. So Omens end up being a distinct thing that really are potentially as good, maybe better in limited. Limited especially. I think they're going to really shine in limited than potentially some of the adventure cards. I did like the adventure because you were getting that 2-for-1. But Omen's just the ability to recast those really handy spells and have the choice later to just drop a fat dragon, I think are going to be really interesting to see how they play out.
And all of the Omen sides of the cards seem to be really great effects that lead up to those dragons. So when you draw them early, you get to cast them for their good effects, put them back in your library, and then when you finally cast them and you've got the mana to cast the dragon side, they're always on time. And that's what I really like about them. I'm really excited about these cards. I think we're going to see them in every format.
Do you want to talk about Behold?
Yeah, sure. Behold is our returning mechanic. So it's to behold a dragon. So the idea here is that as an additional cost to cast your spells, you can either reveal a dragon from your hand or have a dragon on the battlefield, and you get an additional effect for your spells. I've been playing one of these in my Arcades deck forever. Orator of Ujitai, I think is the name of the card. Draws me 2 cards when it comes in if I have a dragon or if there's a dragon in my hand. So it's great. I'm excited.
Cool. So this set has the pretty standard gamut of products with play boosters, collector boosters, bundles, and we've moved to 5 commander decks for this set to cover each of the clans. So what are the 5 commander decks, and kind of what is the theme of each clan's commander deck? That for those that might be a little bit newer to commander, but newer to 3-color clans. Give a bit of an overview so that folks know what to pick up.
So the mechanics of all of these decks are going to follow along with the mechanics from the main set fairly closely. That's always the way it goes. You make a combo package, make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich out of these. So we've got our Abzan armor. It's going to be about putting counters on our creatures and also creating tokens. So going tall and or going wide. So it's going to have a lot of counter synergies. As Abzan always has. Jeskai Striker is going to be a spell slinger deck, casting those second spells every turn and firing off as many as we can, and triggering as many of our prowess creatures and things like that. The Sultai Arisen deck is going to be a value pile that's going to be about self-mill and recursion, bringing back sticky threats and things like that. Your Mardu Surge is going to be our go wide token strategy, aristocrat style deck. And then we've got a Temur Roar, which is going to be about big beefy creatures and stompy magic and casting spells and getting extra value from the graveyard as well, I would imagine. Greg, does that sort of hit it or not?
The big thing
steal
to
any
note
thunder?
with the Abzan decks, so Abzan is your white, black, and green deck, is that it's a butts matter deck. So it's a
right.
toughness matters deck.
Forgot
So
about that.
yeah, the commanders let you deal damage based on like it really wants you to have those big toughness creatures to take advantage of. I believe I'm just trying to yeah, so it allows you to so Belothar the Steadfast is the commander, the face commander. It has that each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So we've had commanders like this before, and they're kind of fun in that they can take really otherwise not great cards and make them potentially lethal. But this one's in a different color pie than normal. So that's the big difference with the Abzan one. It's not the counters matter that you
That's
expect.
right. I forgot about
It's a
that.
big butt deck. Yeah, the other thing too is that these commander decks have followed suit with the ones we've seen over the past few years in that, or sort of past couple of years. I think ever since last year when we went to Thunder Junction, where we're now getting those gorgeous full art treatments on the commander and the backup commander.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, these ones are, and they have been the last few sets. These ones have been stunning. So the art on these are gorgeous here, if you want those full art treatments.
So speaking of card treatments, over the last year we've seen, I feel like, a ton of new and different card treatments in the way they're doing foils, the way they're doing borders and borderless and showcase. So what's cool in this set? What are we going to be excited to crack out of a pack for as far as treatments go?
So for this one, the big card of the set is Mox Jasper, which is a 0-man artifact that taps for any color if you have a dragon. And it is available in a serialized retro frame. So it's the old school border. And it's got a number on it. So that's your big chase card. Then there's your borderless cards that we've seen before, but now we're seeing borderless sagas. I don't think we've seen borderless sagas in the past. There are what are called Ghostfire Showcase cards, which include like Halo Foil, which is a special foil treatment we've seen the last couple of sets. And the Ghostfire art is stunning. Like all of the Ghostfire Showcase cards are beautiful. We've got for our special guests. So there are special guest cards in this set, as there always are, and they're full art. But this includes some of the fetch lands.
Big
And you can get
reprints.
these fetch lands. Yeah, they're a big reprint. You want to see one of these in your pack. But you can see it in Dragonscale Foil. So that just has a texture to the card that looks like Dragonscale. We've got Borderless Reversible Dragons, and most of these are like the young version of the dragon on one side and the old version of the dragon on the other side. That includes Ugin the Planeswalker. You can get him as a reversible dragon. There are Borderless Clan cards, which are it's kind of a big blown up version of the clan symbol in black, and then the character art sort of almost behind the clan symbol, sort of showing out from it. So those are quite interesting. There's the Draconic frame. So this is the standard showcase frame is like this kind of weird dragon texture around the sides of the frame, which looks really good. And then on top of that, you get the special full art lands. So there's Dragon's Presence lands, which are the different lands with the shadow of a dragon passing over the land, and the other is the Dragon's Eye land, where it's a zoom in of a dragon's eye, and the pupil is in the shape of a mana symbol. And there's even going to be one for Wastes, which is going to be available as a promo at certain.
Very cool. So it sounds like grabbing a collector booster is going to open up a lot of opportunities for cool borders and new shiny stuff.
Yeah, most of these can only be found in collector boosters. Your full arts and borderless, you often find those in your play boosters, but when it comes to like a lot of the really fancy treatments, those are exclusive to the collector boosters.
Yeah, I've heard that the Dragon Eye lands that everybody's kind of excited about will only be available in collector boosters. So if you're looking for some of them, might be worth grabbing some collector boosters.
All right. So, with so many new cards and heading back to a plane we're familiar with, what are you guys looking forward to? What are the cards that you're kind of jazzed about?
So I mean, the new Snapcaster Mage is really interesting. And so let me quantify that because that's not a name of the card. Apologize, I had it right here. Songcrafter Mage. So close to Snapcaster Mage. So the Songcrafter Mage gives it's a 3 mana, so it's a green, a red, and a blue. So that's Temur colors. Has flashing. It's a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, target instant or sorcery in your graveyard gains Harmonize. So that's Temur's staple mechanic for the set. So its Harmonize cost is equal to its mana cost. And so, as Greg was mentioning, you can use your creatures to help pay for your Harmonize spells. So this creature can actually give you a 3-minute discount on the spell that it in fact harmonizes. So this is super neat because it's going to it's in 3 colors, so it's a little bit harder to cast. But it's going to give you that flashback ability, and it's even going to pay for some of that. So there's some people have been talking about this with Collected Company. So for 4 mana, you can Collected Company, get this card off of your Collected Company, and then give that Collected Company flashback, or sorry, Harmonize, and then use this card to pay for 3 of the cost of that second Collected Company. So for a total of 5 mana, you can cast 2 Collected Companies. This card's wild. So I'm super excited. And so for me, the rest of the cards that I'm excited about for this set are everything that is gold, because I got a Ramos deck that is just itching for gold cards. How about you, Greg? What's your favorite?
I mean, I've got a few. Like there's a couple of Zergos. There's the Commander Zergo, and then there's the Zergo in the set, and I love them both as it's Zergo. And I like Smashing Face. And the siege cycle in the set is really good, really really good. So sieges are enchantments that when they enter the battlefield, they have 2 different clans you can choose from. So they're 2 color spells. And my favorite of the set is the Windcrag Siege. So it's 1, a red, and a white. And when it enters the battlefield, you can choose Mardu or Jeskai. So Mardu would be the black side, whereas Jeskai would be the blue. If you choose Mardu, if a creature attacks causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, it triggers additional time. That is crazy. There are so many commanders, so many cards that say, when I attack, do this. Now it's when I attack, do this again. So there is a commander called Ishin who does a similar ability. So that's really good in decks that want it. The Jeskai one, at the beginning of your upkeep, you make a goblin creature token that has lifelink and haste. So it's just a great way to fill out your board. A little weird for Jeskai, honestly. And another example is Glacierwood Siege, and that lets you choose Temur. You can play lands from your graveyard. I found that they each have one really, really strong side and one that's kind of mid, which is kind of strange. But another card that I'm really kind of thought was interesting is on the uncommon slot was the Hardened Tactician. 1 white black. You pay 1 black, draw a card.
Card's wild.
Any deck tokens, junk and treasure and trash laying around, you'd be like, I'm just gonna turn this into cards.
Yep.
So that's another really, really good card.
And I'm excited you brought up the sieges to jump in, because I don't want to lose that. I'm super excited that the sieges are this time around. They're 2 different clans meeting together, which was kind of interesting. In the past, the sieges were all about one-sided. Your sieges were single colors. They weren't gold cards. And this time, each of them has a choice for one guild or the other guild, and they have representations for both of the color combinations on the one card. Design choices really out the wazoo on this one. Really well done, guys, on the sieges. Great design.
Yeah, other than that, that's the only other card that, well, Sidisi. Sidisi as a birthing pod for graveyard stuff is great. And I love black cards, so that's my last one.
When it comes to figuring out what my favorite cards are in a set, I actually often find that if this is a good segue, is pre-release. Pre-release is when I find out what my cards are that I really like from a set are. So like I'll be at pre-release, I'll be cracking cards, and once I start to see them and how they interact with everything, that's when I really find where these homes are for these cards and what cards I'm really excited about, because you get to see them in limited, and that kind of gives you a little showcase, a little sneak peek as to what they're going to do in a bigger setting. And so if this is I'm going to plug it right now. Come to pre-release and hang out with me, and because that's how you figure out where these cards go. The hype is all exciting, and that's fine. You're gonna hear about Dracogenesis and how you can cast every dragon in Magic's history for 0 mana, but it's really about coming in and trying out these cards in a limited format and getting a chance to play with some of them. And we open 6 packs, and you're going to get one that's going to be based on your clan, and it's going to be such a good time.
Yeah, pre-release is April 4th and 5th. So April 4th at 6 p.m. and 5th at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. And like Kyle had mentioned, you're going to get a seeded pack. So unlike more recent pre-releases where you just get a standard box, Tarkir has 5 different boxes, that one for each of the clans. So if you attend one of our pre-releases, we're just randomly assigning the clan. So you might not get the one you were looking for, but you might have a good time trying something new. Is there anything else different on pre-release aside from the fact that there's the box has, you know, a clan theme, and one of your 6 packs is seeded towards that clan?
The dice inside will be based on the clan that is represented on the box. And you know, we'll do our best to make sure everybody gets something they're excited about. Come with 2 choices is the best recommendation for me.
Yeah.
From me.
What if people want to, you know, I
Big thing
get
with the
I get mine and you get yours, and we get the opposite of what each other wanted. Can we trade?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So there, you're maybe able to wheel and deal to get the clan you wanted before we actually start cracking packs.
yeah, we'll try to do our best to make sure that people are as happy as we can make them. They're kind of neat because they do like having those plans for a play out could be a lot of fun. It does make it a little awkward because again, there's a limit to how many of each you have to choose from. And the one thing I will caution people is that when they go into these, if you choose or if you get, for example, Abzan, don't automatically assume that you're going to be playing Abzan. And I used to get into this trap all the time when we used to have seeded boosters. Is I'd get my brain that, oh, especially for Tarkir, is you'd be like, oh, well then clearly I'm playing this clan, and then you look at your stuff and you build that clan, and then you look at what's left over. It's like, I had these really great bomb cards in my other clans. I should just build that instead. So, especially if it's an adjacent one where you can it has 2 of the shared colors, you can often very easily move over. So don't get your brain stuck on what symbols on that box. And the other thing I want to note is that I am super excited for the dice in these, which is kind of funny. But the Tarkir dice from the original 2 sets were beautiful. They were like I still count them as some of my favorite dice because normally we get those little matte, like solid dice in whatever colors with maybe different color printing. And in the previous Tarkir sets, we got like the translucent die or the clear yellow one with the sparkles in it, and we'll see that again. I know it's kind of the dice goblin in me is showing, but the dice are probably well. I've seen them; they do look pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to this spin down for a change.
Yeah, so we've got some awesome and exciting events coming up. We've got our commander party is happening on April the 19th, and that'll be on a Saturday. So we'll be giving out our Dragon Speaker Shaman promo, as well as we'll do a release day draft the week after the set drops. So that'll be on the official launch day. So that'll be Friday at 6 for that. We'll give out some exciting promos and stuff like that. And then we've also got our store championship that's coming up on May the 10th. And everybody will be getting a Gleeful Demolition promo, with top 8 getting Charming Scoundrels, and our first place winner gets the Godric Clouded Reveler promo. So that's our upcoming events for Magic the Gathering.
This is shaping up to be a really exciting set. I know, with the excitement of some of the sets coming out after this, a lot of people thought this might get lost in the shuffle, but it seems like Watsy's really put enough fantastic product, some really cool cards, treatments into the set that I think it's going to be worth everybody's time to pick some up and to come in and play some events and revisit a fan favorite plane for the first time in a decade. I want to thank Greg and Kyle for joining me today, as always, and giving their masterful insight of Magic. Because without them, you would have me staring at the screen saying, "There's Magic coming." All right, so we'll see everybody April 4th for the first pre-release. Yeah, we'll see you then.